welcome back to my YouTube channel. This video is coming out a little bit late because I just got sick last week. Had either a really bad cold or RSV or something. So that just delayed everything for a while. But I'm back and we're going to start off this month with the August wrap-up. I had some really good reads this month. I'll get to them, but I had some really good reads. Towards the end of the month, I had some stuff that I was a little bit more iffy on. But overall, great month. Had a lot of with Dark Age by Pierce Brown. I started this towards the end of August, not September. And I finished it at the beginning of September. What month is it? Yeah, but so it's August now. So I finished it towards the beginning of September. I really enjoyed it. I liked it more than the first book of the second trilogy. I did enjoy that he cut back, especially in the first part, on the multiple POVs, cutting it back from the 4 POVs that it was spread across for the first book to just the two focuses in the first part. Especially with it being Darrow and Lysander. I know with Lysander, I wasn't as into him at the beginning of, or even towards the end of that book. I didn't like where he was going. In this one, I liked it a little bit more. I really enjoyed how Lysander, throughout the war, he kept, he grew, but he grew in what feels like the wrong direction. At least to me, felt like unconscious betrayals of his morals, of everything that he was taught by, I want to say Cassius, but that's not right. It was Cassius, so don't know why I didn't think that was his name. But I loved that he kind of was unconsciously betraying these morals that he was taught by Cassius, especially as he was getting more, spending more time with Atlas, it felt like he was being influenced by the Golds and the toxicity of everyone in that on that side of the war. I really liked Darrow was probably my favorite part of part 1, just because I was glad that he was back in the war and that he was fighting. Like, he was actually one of the fighters, not just running around doing like secret missions like he was doing in the first book, where he went to break out the Minotaur. He went and tried to kill the head of the society, or who he thought was the head of the society at the time. I really enjoyed all of that. I didn't enjoy that. I really enjoyed that he was back on the ground and that he was being the leader of his troops. And it was that underdog fight for him, where he knew the entire time he knew he was losing, and he was trying to do everything in his power to just keep going for as long as he could, to try and find that means of escape at some point. Start bringing in a bunch more POVs towards the latter half of the book. Just like with the first book, I really enjoyed Ephraim. His character is just, if they did a whole book just on Ephraim, if Pierce Brown did a whole book on Ephraim, his time as a Grey, his time as a freelancer, I'd eat that shit up. I'd fucking love that. He's probably my favorite character right now, and I'm so excited to see where his character. I'm so excited when I was reading this book. I was so excited to see where his character was going to go. All right, so the next book that I'm going to talk about is Carrie Soto is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid. It's probably my favorite book from this last month that I read. I previously read one of Taylor Jenkins Reid's other books, Daisy Jones and the Six. I'm going to talk about that in another video. Really enjoyed that. But for this one, another home run from Taylor Jenkins Reid, at least for me. I really enjoyed all of the different points that it touched on. I enjoyed the different aspects that it started playing with, especially I liked that I liked that she really touched on the extra expectations people have on for women in sports or even just life in general. There's this whole extra level of you have to be good, you have to be perfect. So you can't just be good. You have to be perfect or better than that. You can't just be the best. You have to be the best of all time. The it was I really that was something that, especially starting from Carrie's like early career where she was against the Russian tennis player and how determined and driven she was to beat her. That was everything that she needed to be the best of all time, was to beat this Russian player, to the point that she was even like taunting her at a match when she had injured herself, just trying to push and push and push so that she could beat this woman. And then later on, that when she makes her comeback, and her going up against all the other women in these tournaments and these Grand Slams, as like there was one part that I really enjoyed was they did an interview where one of her competitors was like more or less saying that she didn't even know who she was, and Carrie got so mad about that and went on a whole rant about how you have to think about the people that came before you, that you have to respect these people, that you have to acknowledge their accomplishments and what they've brought to the sport, what they've done to the sport, what they've done to the cultures around these sports. So to counter that point as a counterpoint to that, as a counterpoint to Carrie saying that people of the current generation need to respect those that came before them, I really enjoyed Chan in a later chapter stating that Carrie needs to do the same, but for the people that came after her. It's not like tennis ended when she retired. The game kept progressing. The game kept evolving. Players like Chan were pushing that evolution. Were pushing how the game was played further and into new areas that Carrie's generation hadn't done before. Even if Carrie is able to play at the same level as Chan is at still, that doesn't mean that the game hasn't evolved. It means that Carrie has also evolved to be able to match up with Chan. I really enjoyed the overall, like, throughout the entire story, this idea of like finding that the joy in things that we were once passionate about or even are still passionate about. Like there's a lot of different aspects of my own hobbies that I've had to rediscover the joy of, so that because I get in my own head over like I need to be the best at this thing. I need to be doing better at it. I need to be getting like improving, and I kind of forget that I'm supposed to be having fun with these things. And I really enjoyed that was brought up, especially by like Bo, who never quit. He kept fighting and he kept like playing because he wanted to be part of it. He didn't want to just be done with it. So overall, I really enjoyed this book. I finished this and immediately started looking into the rest of the Taylor Jenkins Reid's other books. So you'll probably hear about a few more of them over the course of time. All right, so the next book I read was Blackout. It's got a number of authors. It's a series of interconnected short stories set during a blackout in New York, and it's just a bunch of queer romances, and it's very cute. I really enjoyed it. I'd recommend it. It was cute. I don't have a lot to say about it. Okay, so after Blackout was Lightbringer, the third installment into the second series of Red Rising. This one kind of sealed it for me that the sequel series wasn't what I was looking for. wasn't for me. If when he releases the next book in the series, I'll pick it up. I'll give it a read. If it doesn't like wow me, I'm probably just gonna put it down and be done with it for a while. I'm gonna I think I just need a break maybe from the whole thing, because I did read all 6 books basically back to back with like little interruptions between them just to give myself a break. I liked that Cassius, Darrow, and Severo were all back together, and there was some fun interactions between each of them, but overall, it wasn't what I was hoping for. I was hoping for more between the 3 of them, and then it just kind of would go back to Lysander. And I've stated before, I don't like Lysander. I still don't. He just stumbles from win to win, and it doesn't feel deserved ever. It feels like he's being made the big bad of this second series, and it's just not working. I don't get it. Why he's like it feels forced at this point. I like Atlas being the big bad and being revealed to have this like huge overarching 12-year setup plan was fantastic, and I would have loved if he kept being the villain. And that's just where the series was going. I did enjoy somewhat that Lysander and Atlas were slowly getting to this like puppet and puppeteer relationship, where Atlas was going to control Lysander and pull his strings and do things that way, and then Lysander betraying him later. It makes sense just with all of the stuff that Lysander does. But then on top of that, also again betraying Cassius. Not what I'm into. It's just this series has taken a weird turn towards the end, and it's just not for me anymore. Yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff. I don't know if I liked actually. The more I thought about it, the Quicksilver's plan, like his backup plan to have human children being shot into space on his space station asteroid thing as basically an arc. I go back and forth on whether I like that or not. It's a neat little detail, and it feels like it, but it also feels like it's just Pierce Brown writing Quicksilver out because he's such a big player in the entire series, like a big background player, and it's weird. It was weird the last couple of books that he wasn't as active, and then doing this review, okay, I get it. This is why he's not as active. It feels shoehorned in. I really enjoyed the reveal of Foz's real personality. In my notes, I likened it to Bermadam Gorst's voice reveal in the books, where he has a very high-pitched girlish voice. In the first Law series, Bermadam Gorst in the first Law series by Joe Abercrombie. That's a reveal. If you listen to the audiobooks, it's so funny to me every single time I've listened to it or I've read it. Same deal with Foz personality reveal, where he has a voice changer. He's very sophisticated, and he's the opposite of every Obsidian that we've met so far. I even in my notes, I even write, "Will this series ever end?" Towards the end of the book, I had the realization that we're right back where we started. The Rip, with the minor exception being that the Rim is now on the Republic side, but at the beginning of the second trilogy, the Rim was a neutral party at the very least, and now most of its fleet, the bulk of its fleet has been destroyed. So I don't know how much this is going to change the odds of everything. It just feels like a big reset again to the end of the first trilogy. So again, I'm going to pick up they're still very good, well-written books. I'm just not a big fan of where the plot is going and how it's being handled and how some of these characters have been handled so far. So if and when Pierce Brown comes out with a 7th book, I'll probably pick it up. I'll probably read it. If I don't like it, I don't know if I'm going to continue the series anymore. I really like the first trilogy. I think that's a trilogy that I can go back to time and time again and really enjoy that series. Him returning to it in this second trilogy hasn't been my favorite so far, so I don't know if I'm gonna continue past this. All right, so the first book I read after Lightbringer was The Guncle by Stephen Rowley. It was fun. It was cute. It was very campy. I liked the kids in it. I blazed through it. It was fun. It was cute. I liked how the main character Patrick treated the kids like adults, or not even just like adults. He treated them like people, which is something I feel like a lot of children as characters are not treated as, especially in books. A lot of the time, children in books they're treated as children, and you don't get as deep of conversations with them as you would if your characters are treated like people. If you treat your children characters as children, you're not going to be able to have as good development as if you're treating them like people with real feelings, with real like problems. It was so cute, fun. It's one if you want just like a fun little read, I recommend it. So The Guncle by Stephen Rowley. Alright, next up was The Vanished Birds by Simon Jimenez. I'm not 100% certain. I need to look that up. This was a fun one. I keep saying that. I need to come up with new words. This was a very interesting read. I liked the beginning a lot, especially the time-lost romance aspect of it, where one person stayed on a planet and aged 15 years while the other person went on this space journey and would return every 15 years. But for the person that stayed 15 years, it was 8 months for the person on the ship. And the person that stayed on the planet just was still in love with them every time they came back. And every time it came back, it was just as strong, it was just as powerful. And I liked it. It was fun. I'd love to see. I think it worked really well for how short it was. As a short story, I think it works really well. The rest of the plot, I have ups and downs on it. The ability to teleport anywhere in the universe and then wanting to exploit that really, it ended up like cluing me in that this was more of like closer to a cyberpunk dystopia where it was the corporations are running these worlds and these space stations and that's just how it's done, and that was cool. I like that. I really enjoyed what ended up being the description of how they ended up taking advantage of it, where they more or less shredded the person that could teleport down to the barest minimum that they could to activate their teleporting abilities. I found that really interesting. Overall, the book, I really liked the beginning. I kind of liked some of the middle and the end. The beginning was good enough to like nail me. I think I would have preferred just the beginning as like a short story or even like a novella. But overall, it was okay. Very strong I keep saying very strong beginning, kind of meh towards the middle and the end. Okay, so for this month's Star Wars book, it was Most Wanted by Ray Carson. I didn't like it. I say that as someone that likes the Solo movie. This felt weird. It didn't feel like, the characters didn't feel like how they were in the movie. I understand it's a prequel to the movie, but I would have expected the characters to still somewhat act and still somewhat think like they do in the rest of the series, the rest of the movies, the rest of the books that they're featured in. And it felt weird to do this as a prequel, especially towards the end when one of the characters is given the chance to escape this horrible situation they're in, and they're like, you know what? Nah, I'm not going to take this life of luxury. I'm going to go back to living in the sewer because that's where my friends are. And I'd like to think that there are people out there that would make that I'd like to think that maybe there are people out there that would make that choice, but No, if you're a sewer orphan, you should be taking the life of luxury. You should not be a sewer. Being a sewer orphan sounds downright awful. Especially when at the beginning of the book, they're describing how they have rat catcher robots and they use the rats as protein for their food, and that's their only source of protein. So, sewer orphan with rat protein or life of luxury in space. I don't get it. It was not my favorite of the Star Wars books that I've read. Alright, so the last two books, I don't have a lot to say about either of them. They were okay. I read Adult Assembly Required by Abby Waxman. Hate Nick, the ex-fiance. Utter shitbag, douchebag, every kind of bag. Like all the bad bags you can think of, he was those bags. It was, every time his character was on, like, his character appeared, I had the thought of, like, what was the initial, like, I get that they were childhood friends, but what was the I've knew people as a child and that were assholes, and I'm not still friends with them, or nor was I ever, like, inclined to be in a relationship enough to have enough of a relationship with them to end up becoming their fiance. That's nuts. And then her parents encouraging her to get back with this asshole, she was correct in going no contact with them and moving across the country. That is insane shit. Alright, and then the last two, okay, I just said the last two, but the last two is Radicalized by Cory Doctorow. It's another set of short stories. They're all a little sci-fi. They're cool. Some of them, I liked the first one. I don't have a lot to say about them. They were alright. And then the last book, spent all of the, hold on. The last book I read was The Hunchback of Notre Dame by Victor Hugo, and I really enjoyed it. I annotated the hell out of it. I'm going to be doing a whole video on this, so I'm not going to say too much right now, but I convinced one of my other friends to read it, and I'm very excited to hear what their thoughts on it are. I'd never read the story. I remember watching the Disney movie when I was a little kid. There's so much humor in this book. I know there are parts that are really dark, but there's just so many jokes, so much comedy. It starts off with a straight up ugly contest, and that's how you're introduced to Quasimodo. Yeah, I'm gonna be doing a whole video on this. I have so much to say about it already. Alright. Okay, so to end things off, the books I'm currently reading right now is Mistborn Secret History. The start of it's been pretty good so far. I'm really enjoying that. And then I just finished The Lies of Locke Lamora and started the Red Seas Under Red Skies. I've got a whole, just like with Hunchback, I have a whole video planned for The Lies of Locke Lamora, because I want to talk about the whole series. I've never read Red Seas Under Red Skies, or I think it's somewhere up there. City of Thieves or something. Both, I've been told by people that have read them that they're both fantastic, so I'm excited to read them. I want to talk about all three of them, but I want to talk about all three of them in conjunction with one another. So, look forward to that. I'm looking forward to that one. Alrighty, but thank you again for watching. I hope you all enjoyed this. I'm really enjoying talking to you. I'm glad I'm not sick anymore, and that I can start doing videos again. Alright, I hope you all have a good time. Bye.